My number one favorite book of 2024 of the Christian themed comics that we've covered is Blue Flame Issue 0. The one shot issue that I loved more than the mainline issue it was connecting to. Because the direction they took with Blue Flame and his whole schizophrenia angle of him suffering between his regular human self and the alter ego of his powers was really well done. It gave the Remnant issue 4 even more depth, to be honest, especially when it comes to the fight for his soul that was the premise of that issue. And I read this issue after I read that issue of Remnant issue 4. Blue Flame siding with Apollyon has been a major narrative point throughout the Remnant series thus far, and to finally see the struggle he endures from being driven insane by his powers, yet fighting to do good and follow the values instilled by his parents and extended family is honestly one of the most interesting things I've seen from the series thus far. And I was like 26 issues deep into it, mind you. The emergency meeting discourse was honestly well done in context to how the characters have been established. Flameshot and Pinkspade, Blue Flame's parents, have been living with the crushing feeling of their son, who they did their best to train up in the way he should go so that he will not depart from it when he gets older. They use that scripture from Proverbs. Turns out to not only abandon them, but sides with the Antichrist when they are Christian hero. And Man of War, who's more on a mission and the reality of the situation comes first, isn't necessarily opposed to the thought of him potentially coming back, but the reality of what comes with that, especially with the chaos he has caused recently. And that triggered Alex, Flameshot, who has been holding back the secrets of his past in fear of not being accepted by the squad, and I am sure feels guilty for the situation his son is in, as Derek, Blue Flame, only biologically inherited his powers from the experiments done to Alex from the choices he made when he was younger. And if Man of War has such a strong stance towards his son, who they've seen and raised and see the path that he has gone down, Alex could only imagine their reaction when they learn that he was a hired assassin and an underworld crime boss for many years and all that. I just loved the narrative direction of this issue. It was in a kind of like the prodigal son in a superhero kind of context, but actually biblical. Like they were throwing, then they were back and forthing some scriptures of, I think they were referring him to him as the prodigal son, and just the narrative and the dialogue of it is. This is one of like those issues of the Remnant where I'm like, yeah, this is why I am such a big champion for the Remnant. It was written by Bill Roap and Don Perkins with writing credits to Aris Gonzalez, Gilbert Monsanto, and Michael Woods. Just the way they weave the narrative between the characters, especially that round table with Raytheon, I think it was Raytheon, Tech 9, Man of War, Pinkspade, and Flameshot on like, yeah, but I understand what you're saying, but our son's soul comes first. It's like, how do you not get that? Man of War had to like back and forth, and like, I'm not trying to cause offense, and everybody was like, dude, you need to choose your words wisely. It's like, yeah, we understand our mission and public perception, but we are talking about the soul of one of our own, like a kid that we all raised that went down a bad path. Is like, we would accept him with open arms, and that the back and forth between them on that wrong table. Don Perkins did a really, really great job with executing that dialogue between the characters. It felt believable, even though it's like it is purely fictitious. The way the characters, the voice that he gave the characters felt so. You could have felt the emotion in Kaylee's dialogue as a mother. On like, I should like raise my son, raised him among you guys and everything. Prayed that he came back, and it just so happens. Prayed that he came back. Prayed that he followed the right path, and no matter what we did, he still chose to go and follow everything that we have been fighting against, and we couldn't really do anything about it. He chose on by his own free will. All we could have done is pray that he turns away from that one day, and this is the chance for him to potentially come back before he takes the red baptism and damns his soul for all eternity, and all we can do right now is just pray and hope that he comes back. And to hear that someone, that even the chance of him coming back, that someone, that one of their own Christian leaders within the group was man of war, I think is the strategic leader of the Remnant, to hear like you more concerned about our public perception of taking back our son who we just saved from damning his soul for all eternity. Like, yeah, we understand consequences of actions and all that, but this is like everyone was against Man of War. I was against Man of War too. I was like, I understand what you're saying, but come on now. Like the way they gave the voice of the characters. Maybe I'm reading too deep into it because I read too much Remnant books. I read all 26 books, so I know each character and how each character has been written to this point. Just this issue was the one comic that I felt immersed. That's the best way to put it. Immersed in, and I loved it. I loved this issue a lot because it was so, that round table talk, it was so immersive into. I think that's like why I loved it so much. Why it like, this is the only comic I felt like really immersed into this story. So yeah. Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's why I love this issue so much. It was awesome. Don Perkins did an awesome job with the dialogue of that section. I believe Don Perkins was the one who wrote that section, and Bill Rock wrote the opening section showing Blue, that like schizophrenic aspect to Blue Flame. But I said love like 9 times now, but I loved Blue Flame issue 0. It's funny, the one shot leading up to the final battle, I love the one shot more than the actual big battle that they've been teasing for, I think, since the inception. The first book I read from the Remnant. This comic was awesome and is number 1 on my list of the comics we've covered in 2024.